We've all stood in a circle, square, triangle, and thrown around a frisbee. Now, in the 60s, that wasn't enough. They decided to take it to another level, and Ultimate Frisbee was born. Now it's evolved into one of the world's most fast-paced and challenging sports. Frisbee is considered to be plastic's finest form. Based on the information I found on Ultimate Frisbee, articles, credible research, websites, and personal experience, I'll present information on how to play the game, as well as some essentials so that anyone is able to play Ultimate Frisbee. After knowing the rules, no matter the skill level, anyone can jump in and play the game. During the minutes that follow, I'll tell you about Ultimate Frisbee by explaining the rules and play the game as it's played today, by telling you the essentials that you need to be able to play Ultimate Frisbee. The game of Ultimate Frisbee today consists of basic rules and standards. The field, similar to a football field, is a rectangular shape with an end zone at each end. It's 70 yards long with an additional 25 yards end zone on each end, making the entire field 120 yards with a width of 40 yards. Exactly the same length of a football field, just a little bit more narrow. From personal experience, it's not easy to throw the disc the entire length, so keeping the field narrow allows for close playing space to work your way down the field with the disc. Play starts by both teams lining up on your opposite end zones. Each team consists of 7 people. This is the time that your team gets to set up and form a defense, or any offensive plays you may want to use. I personally like a man-on-man defense, where you're assigned one person to defend the entire play. Some play a zone defense where you're assigned a position on the field, and it's your job to defend that position. The defense throws the frisbee, and frisbee lingo we call this a pole, and they throw it to the other team, similar to a kickoff in football. A team scores by the offense completing a pass in the end zone. Very basic. You have to catch the frisbee with both feet in the end zone. You can already have both feet in the end zone, or you can catch it in the air, as long as your first body part that touches the ground is past the goal line. The disc can advance in any direction by a complete pass to a teammate. You cannot run with it, and you have 10 seconds to throw it. The defender guarding the thrower counts out the seconds you have to throw it in. This is called a stall count, and is counted by Mississippi. The defender yells 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, loud enough for everybody on the field to hear it. And the second you pick up the disc till you throw it is the duration of the counting. If they get to the word Mississippi after saying 10, this is a turnover and the other team gets possession of the disc. Possession of the disc changes when a pass is not complete. This happens if the disc is thrown out of bounds, dropped, or intercepted, or blocked by the defense of the other team. The defense takes immediate possession of the disc and becomes the offense, similar to soccer. The hardest thing to do is block the disc. From personal experience, it hurts. When a disc that is meant to go halfway down the field or further hits you, where you're only a foot away from it being thrown, it hurts a lot. It takes dedication to block the disc, and there's very little room for fear. There's no physical contact allowed between the players. Contact made between players results in a foul, and the fouled player picks up the disc from there to bring it back in play. Incidental contact is allowed. However, if the player doesn't think it's incidental, they can still call a foul. The player being fouled has the option to contest the foul, which would send the disc back to the thrower who threw directly before the foul was called. Ultimate Frisbee is self-refereed. Players are expected to call their own fouls, and they do. Even at a collegiate level and world champions, players hand the frisbee to the other team if they've had unnecessary contact with an opposite player or held the disc for longer than the allowed 10 seconds, whether or not someone calls it on them. This is referred to as spirit of the game, and it is not commonly used in sports. It works very, very well in Frisbee. Things that you need to know to play the game, or to jump in any basic game of Frisbee, is that you need a 175 gram Discraft disc. There's many different kinds of discs. These work the best, and they're the best weight to work with any kind of wind in that size of field. Due to the amount of running and fast-paced movement in the game, cleats are highly, highly recommended. The first time I played in sneakers, I fell probably 15 times. The first time I played in cleats, I only fell once. The ability to pivot on one foot is very important. You're not allowed to move once you catch the disc. There are 2 basic throws, a flick, which is thrown on the outside, and a backhand, which you turn and you throw from the front of you. Being able to do these 2 throws make it easier to throw around your defenders. To keep up with the constant flow of the game, it would help to be fit. Similar to hockey and soccer, you get no break until a point is scored. Everyone is constantly running, and it is important to be able to keep up. To work as a team, flow is important. Communication between the entire team and knowing how to work together. There's a lot to Frisbee, but when it boils down to it, Many people pick it up by walking by and joining in. There's always room to learn, no matter how much you've played. After knowing the rules, no matter the skill level, anyone can jump in the game. There are rules and standards that help the game flow smoothly, and there are simple things you need and things you need to know to start up a game. Ultimate stresses sportsmanship and fair play. Competitive play is encouraged, but never at the expense of respect between players. Adherence to the rules and basic joy and play of the game.